Moses is a towering figure in history, revered by many for his incredible journey and the profound impact he had on the world. His story is one of unparalleled courage, unwavering faith, and extraordinary leadership. He is a symbol of hope and resilience. We find his story detailed in the book of Exodus, one of the most compelling narratives in the Bible. This ancient text chronicles his life and the monumental events that defined it. Moses led the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt, a feat that required immense bravery and divine guidance. His leadership during this exodus is legendary, but Moses' beginnings were far from grand. He was born into a time of great hardship and oppression. The Israelites were suffering under the harsh rule of the Egyptian pharaoh. The pharaoh, fearing the growing number of Israelites, saw them as a threat to his power and control. His paranoia led to a cruel and devastating decree. He ordered that all newborn Hebrew boys be killed, a heart-wrenching command that struck fear into the hearts of many families. In a desperate bid to save her son, Moses' mother hid him in a basket. This act of love and desperation was her only hope to protect him from certain death. She placed the basket among the reeds by the Nile River, praying that someone kind would find him and give him a chance at life. By a stroke of fate, Pharaoh's daughter discovered the basket while bathing in the river. She was moved by the sight of the helpless infant. She named him Moses, which means drawn out of the water, and raised him as her own son. This unexpected turn of events set the stage for Moses' incredible journey and the pivotal role he would play in history. Moses lived in the luxury of the palace, but he never forgot his Hebrew heritage. One day, while tending sheep, Moses saw a burning bush. The bush was on fire, but it was not consumed. God spoke to Moses from the bush. He called Moses to free the Israelites from slavery. Moses was afraid. He doubted his ability to lead, but God promised to be with him. Moses returned to Egypt. He stood before Pharaoh. Moses demanded the release of his people. Pharaoh refused. He mocked Moses and his God. Moses warned Pharaoh of God's judgment. He told Pharaoh that God would send plagues upon Egypt. Pharaoh remained defiant. He refused to listen to Moses. Section 4. The Plagues of Egypt. God's mighty hand at work. In the ancient land of Egypt, a series of extraordinary events unfolded, showcasing the immense power and might of God. God sent a series of plagues upon Egypt, each one more devastating than the last, to compel Pharaoh to release the Israelites from bondage. These plagues were not random acts of nature, but deliberate demonstrations of God's power and authority over all creation. The first plague turned the life-giving waters of the Nile River into blood, causing fish to die and the river to stink. Then, frogs swarmed the land, invading homes and disrupting daily life. Next, gnats and flies tormented the people, making life unbearable. The livestock, essential for agriculture and daily sustenance, perished in great numbers. Boils and sores afflicted the Egyptians, causing widespread suffering. Hail and fire rained down from the sky, destroying crops and property. Locusts followed, devouring what little remained. Darkness, so thick it could be felt, covered the land for 3 days, instilling fear and despair. Finally, the most devastating plague struck. In a single night, the firstborn sons of Egypt died, from the firstborn of Pharaoh to the firstborn of the prisoner in the dungeon. This ultimate act of judgment led to the liberation of the Israelites, demonstrating that God's mighty hand was at work, guiding and protecting his people. Section 5, Exodus, a journey to freedom. Pharaoh finally relented. He allowed the Israelites to leave. Moses led his people out of Egypt. They journeyed towards the promised land. Pharaoh changed his mind. He sent his army to recapture the Israelites. God parted the Red Sea. The Israelites walked across on dry ground. The Egyptian army was destroyed. Section 6, the lawgiver receiving the 10 commandments. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness. God provided for their needs. Moses went up Mount Sinai. God gave him the 10 commandments. The 10 commandments are a set of moral laws. They are a covenant between God and his people. Moses descended from the mountain. He taught the people God's laws. Section 7, a legacy of faith and leadership. This chapter delves into the profound impact of one of history's most significant figures. Moses whose life and leadership have left an indelible mark on the world. Moses never entered the promised land despite leading the Israelites through the wilderness for 40 years. His journey was filled with trials and tribulations, yet he remained steadfast in his mission. God took him up to heaven, a testament to his unwavering faith and dedication. This divine act signifies the ultimate reward for his obedience and service. Moses is remembered as a great prophet, a leader who communicated directly with God. His legacy is not just in his actions, but in the laws and teachings he imparted. He's revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, symbolizing a bridge between these major faiths. His teachings continue to inspire and guide millions around the world. His story teaches us about faith, courage, and obedience. It reminds us that true leadership is about serving others and staying true to one's principles, even in the face of adversity. He reminds us of God's power and faithfulness, demonstrated through the miracles he performed, such as parting the Red Sea and bringing water from a rock. The Ten Commandments given to Moses on Mount Sinai continue to guide us. These ancient laws form the bedrock of ethical and moral conduct in many societies. They offer a foundation for a just and moral society, emphasizing principles such as justice, respect, and responsibility. Moses' legacy is a testament to the enduring power of faith and leadership.